Alrighty, everybody. This book is called Extra Yarn. It is a bit on the longer side. If you have some older kiddos, this might be one they enjoy too. So, Extra Yarn. Oh, this is funny. Danielle actually gave my daughter this book a few years ago when she was in preschool. That is crazy. Oh, that's so funny. Alrighty. On a cold afternoon in a cold little town where everywhere you looked was either the white of snow or the black of soot from chimneys, Annabella found a box filled with yarn of every color. I love the illustrations in this book. I think they're so pretty. So she went home and knit herself a sweater. And when Annabelle was done, she had some extra yarn. So she knit a sweater for Mars, her dog, too. But there was still yarn. And when Annabelle and Mars went for a walk, Nate pointed and laughed and said, "You two look ridiculous." "You're just jealous," said Annabelle. "No, I'm not," said Nate. He's not being very nice. He's pointing and laughing at them. Mean. But it turns out he was just jealous, and she made him and his dog a sweater too. And even after she made a sweater for Nate and his dog, and for herself and for her dog Mars, she still had extra yarn. She's wrapped it all around those trees. At school, Annabelle's classmates could not stop talking about her sweater. "Quiet," shouted Mr. Norman. He doesn't look very happy either. "Quiet, everyone. Annabelle, that sweater of yours is a terrible distraction. I cannot teach with everyone turning around to look at you." "Then I will knit one for everyone," Annabelle said, "so they won't have to turn around." "Impossible," said Mr. Norman. "You can't." But it turned out she could, and she did, even one for Mr. Norman. And when she was done, Annabelle still had extra yarn. So she knit sweaters for her mom and her dad, and for Mr. Pendleton, and Mrs. Pendleton, and for Dr. Palmer, and for little Louie. Oh, look at all those sweaters that she's made. She made sweaters for everyone except Mr. Crabtree, who never wore sweaters or even long pants, and who would stand in shorts with the snow up to his knees. "No sweater for me, thanks," said Mr. Crabtree. So she made Mr. Crabtree a hat, and even then Annabelle had extra yarn. There he is in the snow with his shorts on, but at least he's got a hat. She made sweaters for all the dogs and all the cats and for other animals too. Soon people thought, Annabelle will run out of yarn. But it turned out she didn't. So Annabelle made sweaters for things that didn't even wear sweaters. Look, I see a bear with a sweater, and a cat and a rabbit. And look, there's one on that mailbox, and on that barn, and on the birdhouse. My goodness, things began to change in that little town. Look at all of the sweaters that Annabelle has knit for all those buildings. News spread of this remarkable girl who never ran out of yarn, and people came to visit from around the world to see all the sweaters and to shake Annabelle's hand. One day an archduke, who was very fond of clothes, sailed across the sea and demanded to see Annabelle. "Little girl," said the archduke, "I would like to buy that miraculous box of yarn, and I am willing to offer you $1,000,000. "No, thank you," said Annabelle. Let's make this focus real quick. Sorry, guys. "No, thank you," said Annabelle, who was knitting a sweater for a pickup truck. The archduke's mustache twitched. "2,000,000, he said. Annabelle shook her head. "No, thanks." "10,000,000, shouted the archduke. "Take it or leave it." "Leave it," said Annabelle. "I won't sell you the yarn." And she didn't. So that night the archduke hired 3 robbers to break into Annabelle's house. Ooh, he's not nice. And they stole the box. Oh, and took it to the archduke, who set off across the snow and sailed over the sea. Back to his castle. The Archduke put on his favorite song and sat in his best chair. Then he took out the box and he lifted its lid and he looked inside. There he is sitting in his castle. The box is empty. His mustache quivered. It shivered. It trembled. The Archduke hurled the box out the window and shouted, "Little girl, I curse you with my family's curse. You will never be happy again." But, let's see what the but is. It sailed all the way back to Annabelle. It went across the sea and into this little stream by her house. It turned out she was happy. Look at that. She knit a sweater for the tree. The end. I hope you guys enjoyed Extra Yarn. I really like this one. It gives me nice, warm, and fuzzy feelings. Hope you guys are having a good day.